how their fortunes fare in game 1. Supernova, they need this win. We're starting to get into not just territory of them being relegated, which is already on the cards, but morale is an issue. And there's still TI qualifiers right after Div 2. Well, technically after the major, but gonna make sure that team morale, team cohesion is as high as possible once we reach that all-important stage of the year.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you don't... I mean, at least they have one series win on the board, so that's kind of a positive for them. But, you know, after this, if they go 1-4, then the rest of the tour really feels like, you know, you've only got 2 more series left to go. Your confidence is probably pretty down, and then going to those TI qualifiers, everything might be thrown up in the air. Something funny that I saw before we crossed in the game as well is Han was chat-wheeling jungling the entire time. I feel that. I feel that in my soul. You get last pick brooded and you're a mid player and you're not playing a brood counter. You're like, I don't even want to be in lane, bro. I don't want to be here.
Underlord Shen is here in the mid lane. I'm sure right now he's being begged by Han, bro, please, dog. Bro, please, go mid. Come on, bro. I'll make it up to you. He's like, nah, fam, I don't want to deal with this nonsense. So they are going to fight around these bounties. They might force Slock to pounce level 1. He didn't actually left, dude. This is... So, you know, Dota 2 is one of these games where the smallest, minute individual decisions change everything. Supernova had no idea that Erica had already leveled up the Essence Shift. But they only realized it after he hit the Shadow Demon in Disruption. But had they realized it, we'd be looking at a dead Slock right now.
Yeah, if they just, as you said, just realized that he didn't have access to that movement ability, he could have easily been surrounded by the 3 heroes that were there, and he would have got chased down too. So, a bit lucky there for Erica that he was able to get away and not get punished with the greed. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any heralds in chat right now, do not level until you need to. You can get away with it in lane, then walk up in the first creep wave and level your passive. But if you level early and you die because of it, it's your own fault.
Not going to get punished for it just yet, though, so Erica should still be able to get to his level 2, get access to his pounce, and not be too afraid of dying, even though there's a lot of harass in this lane. Like you were mentioning how early on, especially the Underlord doesn't suffer that much against the Slock. Slock does suffer against Shadow Demon, though, so it's not going to be fun for him, these first initial waves up on top.
Yeah, and especially because you got like double melee lane into an Underlord as well, so it is a little stinky from the last arc for them to have this early aggression. But I think the biggest thing for them is a lot of their other lanes are going to do really, really well. This Batrider Tidehunter lane seems to be doing pretty strong, especially with the amount of kill threat they're going to have with like Gush plus the chase down from Sticky Napalm as well as the Flame Break. So that's something that they have to be worried about in the other lanes for Supernova. So if they can't extremely punish this top side of the map, then things can really start to look dire for them going into the first 10 minutes of this game.
Starting to see a lot of harass potential between these two. And middle, starting to see Broodmother and Puck. Okay, I'm kind of glad about this. I'm glad that even though Broodmother is Brood, we still have had the changes where she only becomes the monster at level 6. So Puck should actually be able to play this lane. And so far, equivalent in the CS department. Top lane, we might actually lose the Underlord. He almost died here. Shen dropped down to 40 HP. But the disruption from Sheep ends up saving him. This is very good play coming in from the Lost Dog to apply all this pressure early on before we get more points into that Firestorm and the Atrophy Aura.
Yeah, if they'd only gotten a single bash, there would have been a kill there onto Chen. But as you said, like this is kind of the 1 weak part of Underlord is before you hit that level 3. You know, either when you want 2 levels in the Atrophy or 2 levels in the Firestorm, it is very hard for you to try and play your lane. But they haven't been punished just yet. Neither of these two teams have lost their lives. It is a bit of a back and forth trade when it comes to the CS. I think the biggest thing is the fact that Erica has 3 denies over the top of Chen, but he's really starting to get these last hits racking up now, and that's where the Underlord is going to be A-okay, especially getting like his phase boots, going into his Vanguard. It's going to be pretty tough to kill, especially tough to kill in this mid game.
Everyone's just being harassed to hell and back. And we're about to hit level 3 for the Underlord. How are things going bottom? You mentioned that the Tidehunter and the Batrider are doing quite decently. And so far, that does seem to be the case. Shining equal in CS to the Morphling. Not going to be bothered whatsoever in this lane. Has a Ring of Health coming out soon, so might even see Normalend decide to vacate this bottom part of the map, not needing to help out Shining anymore.
Yeah, He can make some early rotations here on the Batrider. I would like to see normal end at least stay around to like maybe level 4, so you can get like 2 levels in the Firefly, maybe an early level in the Sticky Napalm, because you can make a quick rotation towards Echo, and Echo can force out like a lot of the movement abilities from Han and kind of just permanently chase down with the spin web. So if you're able to just make a rotation with like the Sticky Napalm plus a nice little flame break timing, then Echo can get a free kill on the Han. Keep snowballing out of control. Nobody really wants to come to this part of the map either for Supernova.
Almost got first blood in the jungle, doesn't find it. First blood might happen top though, as Erica is under threat. Forced to jump away, has a lot of shadow poison stacking up on him. And is it going to be enough to kill him with this one connecting? Maybe. Slug so low. He is 180 HP. I think he's going to live though. He's fine. Yep. He lives. It's only level 2 on the Shadow Poison, not strong enough just yet to threaten his life.
Yeah, very, very close there to losing Erica's life, but has the wand, has the HP now to be able to get back to full and okay. They're actually making a rotation here with Chola, so they want to bring the Dark Ruler up towards top and try and get this first blood.
Yep. But they also brought the Batrider on the other side. So there's 6 heroes in the top lane. Unfortunately, though, Supernova found the initiation first, so the Lost Dog will have to suffer the first blood. But Erica wants some revenge, going on to Sheep. Nice little stick, popped by the Shadow Demon. He's gonna die, yes, but he sets up Shen to finish off the slog. Hashtag worth for Shadow Demon. Phenomenal rotation from Shola. And because the Batrider also had to make the move here, it's not like they can punish Dong on this Morphling down on the bottom lane. He's gonna farm for free versus the Tidehunter anyway.
Well, that's the thing with this, core-to-core matchup in the offlane and the safe lane for the last arc is Shining's not going to kill the Morphling, but the Morphling's also not going to kill him. So that means that this 2v2 lane really kind of dissolved extremely fast. And as you said, normal end making that rotation towards top, he doesn't get anything out of it. He just watches 2 of his team members die. And now he's sitting here at level 2 on a Batrider like, I don't really want to go anywhere. He can't even like really make a rotation towards a puck in the mid lane because he has to worry about a Lucio plus Waning Rift. So it is hard for him to get a lot of work done.
His patience might pay off in the top lane though, as they are going to be able to bring down Shen. Shola might also be in danger. Bramble Mace has already been committed. Does have the Shadow Realm. And Erica, with only level 1 pounce, will not try to leverage that spell underneath the tower. Good move. The patience from normal end paying off. Ultimately, though, it doesn't come for free because they are still getting free farm. Well, actually, I say that, but Han's actually not farming that much mid. And bottom, Tidehunter and Shining drawing up enough that it's probably still okay for the Lost Dog. So just a bonus, just a nice free kill for them.
Yeah, I think the big thing for them is their mid lane is always going to go this way. Broodmother just has insane base damage to be able to go up against, and like she doesn't even have that many stats, and she already hits for almost 100, and then all it takes is for her to pop Insatiable Hunger, and she hits even harder.
Yep.
So now Brood's making rotation top.
First Stream Coil of the game, Han finds it onto 2 heroes, both Erica as well as YYYY. They've killed off the Spirit Breaker, but Erica manages to live 23 HP. They bring down both of the supports in the meantime, and Echoes has now made a movement, trying to isolate Han potentially. Does manage to jaunt himself away into the dire jungle, pick up a bounty on the way out. But nonetheless, they lose 2, they only pick up the Spirit Breaker, and by the skin of his teeth, the slug doesn't get punished.
Yeah, I can't believe that Erica lived, right? Like that was nuts for him to be able to get out of that. That probably would have been a much worse rotation for the last arc if they did lose out on their slug. But big rotation from Echoes. Usually you see a lot of Broodmothers not make that rotation early on, but I really like that he's getting himself involved in the game, being the strongest hero on the map right now. The thing is with Brood is until you start building up a lot of these babies, it is very hard for you to just take these towers early on. So
middle. Han getting charged into. Nice self-disruption from Sheep. I thought they were going to try and jump because normal end has been sticking around down bot in this mid lane, waiting to jump in, but no opportunity just yet. You mentioned earlier that Echoes is going to be building this Orchid. Once he gets it, do they just keep trying to chain kill the puck, or is Morphling a more viable target at that point?
I think you just try and chain kill anybody who comes close to you, right? Just try and make sure you get as many kills as possible with this Orchid and start running over the map.
They're actually invading Radiant Triangle right now. Shola gets brought down by YYYY as well as Echoes' Spider Army. And with Erica making a rotation, they might want more out of this. Pounce is at the ready. Erica throws it out. They find Sheep. Sheep will get thrown back with the Flame Break as well onto the high ground. And you know, normally you might be like, ha, you fools. I'm on the high ground, but there's a brood mother with her entire army, so it's not safe for you either.
It's not looking good right now for Supernova because the multiple rotations they've made towards the broodmother has ended up in her getting 3 kills out of it. So she's been involved in 4 kills so far, and is really just starting to snowball towards this orchid. So what, about another 1,000 gold away? Yeah, almost like another 1,000 gold away from being able to finish up the orchid.
It's going to be very fast.
And once that orchid is up, I feel like almost everybody is just going to be spider food. And that's the scary part. You can make rotations towards the Morphling. You can make rotations up onto the puck. I think the biggest thing for Echo is just try and make sure that he shuts down the 4, 5, and 3. Because if he's able to just constantly make sure that they're not to be able to be involved, it's going to be hard for Han to link up with people and actually get some kills that the puck needs. And then if the puck's not getting kills for them, then Morphling's going to run out of space. And it's kind of like a domino effect of him just murdering everybody else. That means that nobody else can have any fun on Nova either.
Morphling right now, Dong is under a little bit of threat. Why? Around him with Shining. But they are aware that he is a Morphling, so killing a Morph with only these 2 heroes, very unlikely. I will say, I like the fact that he's rushing the Lincoln Sphere. Certainly the game for it. Versus this Orchid Rush, versus the Spirit Breaker. Very good, but unfortunately, he might still end up dead here. Eric, oh, he waveformed. He's dead. Shining doesn't actually have mana for the Ravage anymore. He has to pop the healing loaders to make it happen. Fiend's Gate will bring in reinforcements. Shining forced to pop the Ravage now, but they still found the priority target. Killing offset Morphling. And Shen is like, well, I'm not doing anything here. Just take the gate back right quick. And that abandons Shola to his own devices. Fortunately for him, there's no Aghanim Scepter just yet, but Erica does have the ultimate. Goes into the Shadow Realm, buying space and time. Dark Pact almost kills off Shola, but he is still alive. So Erica, unable to kill a hero who's at 20 HP. Earlier on, he survived on the same margin, so all is balanced in the world right now, Fluke.
Yeah, it's the Dota gods getting one back for Erica surviving, as you said. So it is a big start here for the last arc. A lot of their strong heroes are really just being able to move around the map and play really fast. Shining's gone for a Meteor Hammer. I'm not sure if I'm super sold on the build. I like it. I like Meteor Hammer full stop. I think it's a great item. But I'm not sure about it this game. Especially if you could just get some of these early aura items, and unfortunately for Han, he just got found out, and that is the opener with the Orchid. And I don't think it really matters what your Tidehunter build is if your mid-brood mother is doing what she's doing.
That's so frustrating right now for the puck. You have no counterplay option. You're going Witchblade, so charge Orchid is always going to be effective into you. The moment they see you on the map, why will kill you off. And now they're coming top to defend the tower. Muscle Supernova away from this push. So they still maintain control of all 3 of their tier 1s. The Slark is busy pushing out bottom. They can't farm their own triangle freely because Echoes is playing in this area. It feels like the Lost Ark are just putting the screws out onto Supernova. And it's going to be a while before they have the full replay options. So what's missing? When do they feel like they can actually go? I suppose you can't do anything until Dong at least has Lincoln's Yasha. Before that, it feels like they actually don't have firepower on Supernova side.
Yeah, it's basically you want Lincolns and then like Mech plus Crimson, I think, for Chen as well, because you need to have the Crimson against the Broodmother so the babies don't just kind of run at your supports and kill them. But you also need to have the Mech as well to be able to give you that extra bit of EHP to try and get some of these turnaround kills, because Slark's really not at the point where he's super scary. Like, he's just going to have a Mage Slayer, so he's not kind of crazy. If you survive the initiation from the Batrider, you're okay. If you're able to live out on the Ravage as well, that means that you can kind of just get the rest of the fight going the way that you want to. So if they just have those small little survivability auras, I think they're going to be in a pretty good spot here for Nova, but it's about how much they lose before then.
The question, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. They just lost Shola's life on bottom. Tier 2 towers on the cards as well, because the Brood is in the mix. And it's not like they're going to get much on the top lane. Shining might die here, but the commitment required to get him. If I'm Lost Ark, I'm like, #worth. Dream Coil, 4 heroes being in the side of the map. And they still haven't gotten the tier 1 tower yet, whilst we're taking tier 2 worth. But maybe they try to defend right now with the Fiend's Gate. They're bringing in the entire crew. What can they do here? They know there's no Shining and there's no Ravage available, but they also don't have Dream Coil. They're jumping in. They find the Terrorize onto 2 with the Pit of Malice as well. Why? Will be very quickly killed off with the damage also coming in from the Bedlam. Okay, nicely done there by Supernova. And they did the smart thing. They left the Morphling alone in the top lane to siege the tower. So they get to play efficiently all across the map.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a risky play. I was like, oh, I'm not quite sure if this is really going to work out for Supernova if they just walk in towards bottom. But it seems like the last Arc were just not there and ready for it. It was a sick play with the Terrorize plus the Pit of Malice. Normal end.
Oh, super dead.
Didn't avoid the Brambles.
He does avoid the Brambles with the Firefly, but they have a lot. Waveform, Illusory Orb, Shadow Realm hits. There's no way you can escape that one, my friend.
Sheep dodged the final auto attacks from the babies with a smoke, but it seems like Echo's not going to let him get out for free. Okay, he will leave him be, but yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job at punishing the non-scary heroes coming in from the last arc. I think right now the only 2 real scary heroes are the Slark and the Spider Lady. So as long as they're not going directly into where Echoes is the entire time, I think this is the best place for them to try and fight for Supernova. Just want to make sure that they're not fighting on the webs, making sure that they're not fighting where Broodmother has a big army following her as well. And just try and get the pickoffs that you can and build to a point where your Morphling and Puck are not as scared in these team fights as they are currently.
Morphling did just pick up a Lincoln Sphere, so much more difficult to kill. But the Lost Ark, despite all of this, they still feel like they want to fight somewhere. They're smoked up with the 2 supports. Normal end smoke will pop, so he knows that there's a hero right here. TP attempt from Han. Oh no, but he gets out. No lasso, no nether strike. The Orchid finds him, but man, 1 second later, he's 100% dead. Does manage to survive for now, but they still want something from the Lost Ark. Trying to chase after this Dong Morphling. They lasso him, but the Pit of Malice will be there from Shen. So they don't have a way to drag him out just yet. Nether Strike pushing Dong closer towards the Dire lineup, but he waveforms into this Bat Rider to kill him off. Shining finds a Ravage that only connects onto 2, however. It's still enough to confirm the kill on the Underlord. At the same time, Han jumped the back lines to finish off the Spirit Breaker. Now, how do they flee from this fight? Sheep getting the disruption out onto the Slok, but he's been slowed in by Shining. The pounce comes in from Erica, and the Shadow Demon will indeed die. Lots of deaths happening here in this Radiant jungle, but in the grand scheme of things, Fluke, who comes out on top?
I think you're probably a little more happier with that if you're Supernova, the fact that Dong's the one that's getting involved in a lot of these fights, right? The gold's relatively similar. It's just that mainly the XP is kind of the issue, but there's a lot of experience that went into the hand of Han as well. So them surviving these fights is always big, but losing Han here could be rough. Ooh,
that's fine. He's got
timely haste rune.
Yeah. He's chilled. He was prepared for this. Gets himself out in the top lane, though. Might have some trouble being thrown in here onto these heroes. They missed the Meteor Hammer coming in from Shining. But both Dong and Slark a little bit too tanky for either team to go on. They just back themselves away. By the way, in retrospect, looking at this Meteor Hammer, normally I actually am a fairly big fan of Meteor Hammer on Tide, but you made a very salient point that you can do what you want if your Brood is having this game, but they don't even need this building damage, right? From the Meteor Hammer. You have Brood. So in retrospect, maybe a faster pipe could have helped them out because I haven't seen the Meteor Hammer pay dividends just yet for them.
Yeah. I think it's like one of those things where like you're playing Tidehunter and he had a really good game on Shining. He's still having a really good game, right? And when you normally have a really good game on some of these offlane heroes, there's like a small little deviation that you can make that gives you that little bit of extra oomph, right? Like if you were having a magnificent game on Chen, like you could see like maybe a Rod of Atos early or you know, something that's a little different from these straight up auras. Whereas with Tide, it's like, what do you really get? And I think maybe Meteor Hammer is just like that kind of interim item that gives you that little bit of extra farming prowess. It obviously gives you some pretty good stats, gives you some mana regen, gives you some health regen. So it's not that bad, but it's just now that you're not able to stick it the entire time, it doesn't feel that great.
Well, he's about to die though, so you're gonna have some time to think about what items come next. Very fortunately for the side of Supernova, but unfortunately for him, he died 100 gold shy of having a full pipe of insight. And they're taking the gate back middle with the entire crew. They want to make sure that nobody runs back by themselves to quickly get picked off by this Broodmother. I must say, Supernova, Fluke, these last few minutes, their map movements have looked pretty sharp, honestly.
Yeah, They're doing a really good job at doing exactly as I said, right? Just staying away from Echo. They just need to make sure that any picks they get across the map are nowhere near Echo, because this can happen to them, right? They can get orchided, they can get kind of ran at. Sort of DD Rune right now, she's really scary, but they're doing a good job at just picking off Shining, who has been kind of just playing a lot of these side lanes, just trying to push them out with his Meteor Hammer in his hands. So they are doing a good job at punishing him from doing that and building to their own items. Like, Dong is getting close to a Mantisale. Mantisale Lincoln's, it's going to be very hard for them to catch him in these team fights. And if he's able to just freely run around, maybe he gets a lot of these kills on the backlines, killing a bat, maybe even killing like this Slark if he gets caught out by like a Terrorize or a Pit of Malice route. So they're getting to the point now where I think Supernova has really weathered a lot of the bad storm, where it's like this early game where Brood has this like 10-minute Orchid and everyone's like kind of shitting their pants for like the first 10, 11 minutes of this game because nobody can go anywhere. But they've done a really good job at just stabilizing the rest of their map and getting into a good spot mentally as well as physically in the map too.
When they eventually get to this Aghanim Scepter, it's such a huge pickup for them. They do murder this young Mareska in the mid lane. Very easy kill. Sadly, it's not going to lead into a tier 2 tower. There's no tier 2 to claim down bottom. There is Roche to potentially play around, and maybe a kill onto Shen. And they know he's here. They find him. They have more than enough stuns to kill him, so he's not even going to bother with any plays. Will just be killed off quite quickly. That's the kind of stuff they need from the last arc, but they also need to make sure they get some objectives off the back end of this.
Yeah, some tier 2s to claim would be really nice right now, so they can get a little bit more of this control. They already do control quite a lot of the Radiant side, but I think they've lost a little bit of control when it comes to the top side of the map. I think that's where Dong has spent the majority of his time in the last couple of minutes. So if they can try and get a little bit more of this tier 2 tower action happening, they can start to control that map. But they want Roche instead. So they've got Pipe now, and they can just kind of walk into Roche with Pipe and Ags.
Shouldn't take them too long to be able to claim at this point, and it doesn't seem like there's been any scouting from Supernova. So Big Man is going to go down for free. Aegis, we give it to Erica or to Echoes? What do you think?
Probably Erica. Echoes has a BKB right now, and him being a Broodmother, he naturally kind of wants to be second fiddle. He wants to kind of come in from the side and get some of these easier kills, whereas the Slark's going to have to be the Macho Man and go in on the front lines.
6k gold lead now at 21 minutes. Morphling is still the most farmed hero on the map, despite the fact that they're finding so much success for their cause on Last Arc. Puck and Underlord obviously struggling, but they'll get there eventually. Underlord getting a Heaven's Halberd fairly soon. That's going to lead into some difficulties for Slark and the Broodmother.
Yep. Underlord is one of those offlaners that can really just kind of be okay with any tempo of the game. He can play fast, he can play slow. So the way that Supernova have really just been able to drag out this game, like, they haven't lost a tower in what feels like maybe like 5 or 6 minutes, which is like a pretty long period when it feels like that you're pretty far behind to not lose any hardcore structures. Yeah, they may have lost parts of the map, but they were able to gain parts back. And it just seems now that they've done a really good job at just stabilizing and building into a lot of their own items. They've got some Blink Daggers, they've got Manta Style that's at the ready now for Dong, they're getting close to a Halberd, like, got a lot of answers coming up, but can they answer the 7k gold deficit that they're going into right now and an Aegis? That's the big question.
We have an Aegis Ravage, we have Blink Lasso. Lots of good stuff happening for the Last Arc. They really want this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Shen will do his best to defend it, and it's Underlord, so that defense is fairly effective. And also Han is doing the right thing, cutting these waves up on top. So they're spending a lot of time posted up in front of these towers, unable to dish out the damage. As I say that though, Fluke, here we go. That's why we needed the Meteor Hammer to put in this damage. But Erica, tired of all of this, he just wants to fight. Jumping in, looking for some targets. They get another strike back onto this Underlord. He's still alive, however. Disrupted to save him for the moment. Shining gets off a Ravage, but it feels like it connects onto nothing. It doesn't matter though, because they still are able to kill off this Dark Willow. But the Dream Coil with Pit of Malice and the Demonic Purge back onto Shining. They kill off the Tidehunter. Erica was almost under threat there, but he did manage to escape. The fight's not over yet though, as Dong steals away the Spirit Breaker form, charges onto normal end, and finishes off the Spat Rider. Massive fight for Supernova. They defend the tier 2 tower. Dong gets a kill. And this game is starting to feel like it's not really a 6 or 7k gold lead. Fluke, you said it the other day, gold leads in 733D are incredibly deceptive.
Yeah, it really did feel like that the gold meant nothing. And to be fair, that's probably the worst person on the enemy team that could have gone. Like, them going on to Chen is not very smart for them to be able to do that. Oh no, Shola.
No. Oh no.
Ah, he didn't win the fight. Ah, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. But is what it is. Sometimes you just being a position 5, that's going to be the price that you will pay, is you'll die to a Tormentor at least once a game. But them going onto Chen, I think he just got his halberd too in that fight. I think he just had it delivered to him. So he was in his most tankiest kind of position, and then there was always Sheep in the background, just being able to disrupt him. And I agree with what you said in that team fight. I'm pretty sure Ravage only hit onto Chola, and that's why he was the only one that died. I think Dong waveform dodged it, and I think Chen was inside a disruption.
Well, Stock, last time around they did go on to Shen, but this time they don't just go on to him, but they drag him very far from his team first, and then they kill him off. Erica was hoping to try kill Sheep on the high ground, but with the disruption blink, he's able to keep alive. Lost Dogs still feel very strong. They're still carrying this Aegis. We still have an incredibly farmed Broodmother. So they want to try and leverage that strength to get more than just a tier 2. Tier 3 tower is very low indeed. Shining, dropping the meme hammer on it. The adaptive strike comes too late to interrupt it. They do have to retreat now because Shen is about to respawn. But the next time they come to do this, they'll have an opening through a tier 3 tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's where the media hammer really starts to come into its own, being able to just get that chip going. You throw it out every, or is it like every 30, 40 seconds, something like that? 24 seconds. And that means that you're just able to chip away at the buildings, because that has been changed much more from a setup, a stun into another media hammer, into actually what it was designed to do and be a tower killer. So there's a lot of work for them so far, and they're at a critical point here on the last arc, where they've got a few more items that are starting to come up, but with the Aegis starting to peter away, they need to make sure that they don't get caught as they fall away from the Radiant side of the map. Echo?
We're actually charging top directly onto this Shola Dark Willow. Shola will end up dead. Tried to stay alive at the Shadow Realm, but it's not going to be good enough. Dong and the crew, though, gathered in the area, thinking about making the jump. But honestly, with Dong literally like 100-something gold from Ags, bro, finish the Aghanim Scepter. It's fine. They might not have that chance, though, because a fight might be on still. Shen getting charged into. He's being stuck on by the slog. Erica really wants this Underlord right now. Nether Strike's already been expended, and Shen is just so tanky with this Crimson God Halberd. He's still alive for now. They get a Ravage. This time it does connect onto 3 from Shining. Nobody's dead just yet, though. Pit of Malice dropped down with the Dream Coil now coming out as well. Dong trying to do the damage necessary, and he manages to kill off Echoes with the help of this Underlord. Beautiful Terrorize on the 3. Sending back Erica, Shining, and why. This Spirit Breaker going to be the first one brought down. The waveform of Dong giving them the necessary damage, and now they want to chase Normal End. Shining blinks in front of him to interrupt the Morphling chase, but they should still find him. At the same time, Erica finds the backlines, eliminates Shola from the team fight. Normal End finally takes a tumble now, but we're playing all the way by the Tormentor, and this fight started at the secret shop. Shining probably knows he won't die here. Between himself and Erica, they are a bit too tanky. Erica, jump back. Doesn't find the puck, though. The pounce does latch, but still gets out with the phase shift. A long, drawn-out engagement at the very end there. Supernova. It becomes a 3-for-3, yes, but you got a Broodmother out of the deal here.
Yeah, I mean, Dong is now at the point where he is probably the scariest hero on the map. I don't think that Echo feels all too crazy strong with how this game has been going, but you can just tell that Erica knows that he can't have the straight up 1v1 into the Morphling just yet. And the way that he has to play these fights, he has to play kind of on the edges. He needs to make sure that he tries to get some of these kills as people start to set their attention in other places. But again, it's like, it's so hard for them to just get this instant free kill on the Chen. If he's able to survive and just walk his way back towards his team, he gets a Pit of Malice down, gets a Firestorm rolling, like, it is hard for them to kill this Underlord. And this is why he's one of those heroes that I feel like as you scale deeper and deeper, he's one of the best offlaners to have in these late game scenarios just because of the way that Atrophy Aura scales and the fact that it's percent based against a lot of these heroes that have a lot of the base damage. It's like we don't really see Slarks building things like Daedalus and all that kind of stuff. And same thing with the Broodmother, who's a universal hero, so she relies quite heavily on her own stats. And with your base damage getting taken away, it is very, very hard for you to get these fights going when everybody's HP starts to increase the later the game goes.
Oh my god, Shen is such a god, dude. Not only has he been helping out with his itemization and his hero just being a natural, that Pit of Malice interrupts the charge in from Spirit Breaker and makes sure Batrider doesn't get there. Shining made a very aggressive blink. He does have Ravage at the ready, but doesn't want to pop it just yet. Supernova, they smoke up. They're not going to retreat from this area, Fluke. They're going to take the challenge. They just want to find a proper inroad into the fight. Puck trying to scout things out with the Illusion Orb, waiting for the blink initiation. Shining gets scouted, going to have to flee away right quick. Now the first move for the game. We see the charge onto Shola. Does get off the Shadow Realm though. Pit of Malice is going to be there as well. Waveform through by this Morphling. They really want to fight on the back end of the fight, but they didn't have enough damage to get these kills. So Erica, he's now trying to zone them back. Nova, find a charge onto the Batrider. Shining finally lets off the Ravage. It hits the Puck, hits the rest of Supernova, and enables them to kill the Fairy Dragon. Shen now completely isolated. Dong trying to buy him space with the charge through onto multiple heroes, but it's not going to be enough. He ends up dead. Now Morphling needs to escape somehow. Does have the charge, so he uses it to get to the other side of the map. And at the same time, we did have Shola fleeing the engagement. But Lost Dog, they get the victory. They find themselves in a good position. Is it now time to go through the Twin Gate and siege Roshan here, Fluke?
Yeah, I'm surprised that Normaland hasn't just gone in to have a triple check to see where Roche is, but they will be privy to that information. They're just waiting for him to make the meander bottom. But, I mean, team fight went really well because Echoes lived, right? As long as Echoes is alive in these fights, then it means that the last Dark are going to have a good time. So, another Aegis, another Cheese. These next couple of fights are going to be very hard for Supernova to win into that.
What a fight. Roshan with an Aegis and a Cheese now going in the direction of the Lost Dark. Echoes really getting to a crazy point in this game as is Broodmother. This hero has just been phenomenal. What is she building into right now? Lincoln Sphere. It's not that far away. It should actually be arriving pretty much now. Like a couple of creep camps. And you'll have full Lincolns. So that makes her much harder to kill. Disruption doesn't work on her. Makes Han's game more difficult because how does a Puck play into a BKB Lincoln's Broodmother?
Yeah. It also means that it kind of stops him from Dong just going in and getting the morph onto him as well. So can save his stats going into these last couple of fights. So we'll have to wait and see what Dong does now, because I think in the last couple of fights he's basically just been turning into Y anyways. So, I mean, the Lincoln Sphere will stop Curse Ground and Disruption, I guess, but there still is a few things you have to be careful with. I would love to see Echo go like along the lines of maybe something along the lines of like a Hex or like an Assault Cuirass or just a big damage item right now. Even just a Harpoon to kind of couple in with Erica's one as well. Just allows him to be overwhelming physical damage. Because right now he does a lot of damage, but it does take him a little bit of time and a lot of his BKB to get through some of these heroes. And if he has just that overwhelming physical damage, it also enables the Slark in these fights too, because they are still struggling to kill Chen. I think that's a big thing is Chen lasts such a long time in these fights that if he gets to the point where he's going to go for a pipe, I would have loved to have seen a Guardian Greaves this game from him. I guess he doesn't have the luxury of having all that net worth, but I think if he had Guardian Greaves this game, this would be very hard for them to lose a team fight.
Poor Han has been scouted out by an Observer Ward. How slippery is he here? Okay, nice maneuvers being made, but sadly, there's too much disable, too many ways to interrupt the TP attempt, and he will end up dead. Killing spree for our Tidehunter. No big spells committed outside of last two to make that happen either. So, oh boy, this game is just feeling super tough. And earlier on, we were talking about a deceptive gold lead at 7K. This 13 one, it's no longer deceptive because Dong is the only actual hero on the side of Supernova who threatens the Lost Dark lineup. Like you mentioned that Shen takes a long time to kill, but his danger and value proposition is keeping the fight long enough for Dong to mop up afterwards. The fact that things are going so rough for everybody else is a bit of a problem for this Morphling. Waterboy is a hard carry, but is he this hard, Fluke?
Well, he's got a butterfly now, so maybe he can start to carry a little harder in these fights. Doesn't have to worry about a halberd just yet. No, it looks like there's no halberd coming out for last Dark, so doesn't have to worry about that. Does have to be very, very careful at the rest of his team dying, which is one of the issues that this Morphling can run into right now, that Dong may not have enough time in these team fights to kill everybody, and his teammates might not be able to survive enough to deal enough damage for him to mop up some of these kills. So Chen staying alive as long as he can is going to be important for them, but they need to make sure that the Shadow Demon as well as Chola can try and get at least one round of their spells out to enable Dong in these fights.
They're smoking out right now. Supernova, they want to protect the Tormentor. Pit of Malice drop down onto Slark with the Terrorize as well. Do they have what it takes to kill him? They just finished off the Tormentor though. Shen gets the shot and Erica jumps back in. He has this Aegis, so he feels like he's protected. They will get off the Demonic Purge. Shining finds a Ravage on the 3. They kill off Shola first. Shen is going to get hexed right now. Meteor Hammer dropping on top of his face, but he makes it through the Twin Gate. At the same time, Han dropped the Dream Coil back onto several heroes, giving space for Dong to also escape back into the base. Dong waveforms onto normal end, killing off this Batrider. And now he steals the Slog form, so we've gotten some bonus attack speed out of him. Can he find the pounce? It's going to be ready again in just a moment. He lashes out onto Shining. Erica's like, "Sauce, buddy, not much I can do for you here, fam." He does have the cheese. We'll be able to snack on it. That puts him back into a fighting position. Echo's also running interference here from the right-hand side, and also being able to get out. Free pathing, broken ability. Broodmother leverages it to escape this fight. And it's a 2 for nothing, or 2 for 1. It was a buyback from Shola to make that one happen.
Okay, so we can see what happens when Dong is untouched in these fights, right? Like, he is scary. Like, he is a very, very scary hero. But the question is, can everybody else live? Now into the back they go.
There was a waveform moment. He actually pounces onto Echoes. Echoes is in trouble, forced to pop BKB and try and run away from this fight. Shining as well, tanking quite a lot of damage from these Morphling illusions. Dong starting to show that he's no one to be messed with right now. The Last Dark won't be able to find a fight off the back of this. And if these instances keep happening and these fights keep being survived, this Morphling, you really start to become a massive problem. Once you have this BKB and you have no fear of jumping into the fight, how do they deal with him at that point?
Yeah, that's the question, and I think the biggest thing for me is just haven't seen Han be able to hit a good Dream Coil just yet. Like, if there's a lot of these fights where Han's able to hit like 2 or 3 heroes and then it just couples up with Dong to be able to do the damage, then Supernova have a real avenue of getting this game under their belt. But they are behind, and they're the ones that need to play really, really well. If they get caught out a couple of times here, things can start to get dicey, but everything is in the Morphling basket right now, and the Last Dark definitely don't feel like they are extremely safe in this game number 1 at closing it out. Usually when you're like 14k ahead at 36 minutes into the game, you're probably feeling pretty good about being able to close out this game, but they also need to make sure that they don't make too many mistakes, because a kill onto Erica, a kill onto Echo, I mean, that could mean that Dong goes like maybe 1.5 an extra item ahead of some of these other cores, and then he becomes unkillable.
Dong's Morphling illusions will take the tier 1 middle. At the same time, Shola getting dragged back in by Normal End. Very easy kill. Man, Shola has just drawn the short straw this entire game. Really been struggling. 0 and 10 right now on the Maresca. I don't know where you want to be. And honestly, one of the big things for me is that the fact that this Dark Willow and even the Shadow Demon to a lesser extent have had such rough games has meant that the Spirit Breaker has been much more free than I think he has any license to be in this game.
Yeah, the Dark Willow is like a lot of their control and team fight as well, which is the main reason why that you're seeing her getting lassoed constantly, just because it means that Slark can freely run around. Like, because if you're trying to be like a Slark and a Broodmother, 2 heroes that love having like free movement in a fight, if you're going into like Pit of Malice plus Bramble Maze, like you have to be so mindful about where you're thinking and where you're leaping around that it can just mean that these team fights are just a little too hard to try and navigate. So getting rid of the Dark Willow at any kind of cost is exactly what they need here to play into Supernova. But again, they still need to make sure that they kill Morphling at some point. If they let him continue to ball out of control, all it takes is like one good Pit of Malice, one good Dream Coil, and this Slark and his Broodmother can't stand up to a Morphling.
Broodmother does have a Hex now. You were calling for it earlier on, so she has it. So that means that there's 2 in the lineup. Between herself and Shining, they've got a ton of additional Disable now. They might want to reveal this somewhere. Morphling, he just waveformed forward. So he's actually in a bit of a dangerous position. Does still have the Linkins to help protect. And Lost Dog, they don't want to take the bait. Han is not here for this fight, though. He needs to avail himself ASAP. What do you think the prospects are? So many times in our careers, Fluke, we've seen here around this area, Radiant Twin Gate, game-changing fights. This might be one of them. As the Lost Dog have also smoked up, trying to find a way in. Erica, he's going to scout the Morphling. They have the vision of the Water Boy. The Pit of Malice, though, is going to be there. And Dawn gets off the BKB. Shadow Dance also emerged from Erica, though. The fear is going to be there on top of him. They don't have the additional control. Dong, though, finds the pounce, which lashes onto Erica. He's forced to have to use the Depth Shroud as well to keep himself alive here. At the same time, down bottom, we see a fight happening onto the Shadow Demon. Sheep and Shola have both ended up dead. Why? Charging in onto Shen right now, who doesn't have a Crimson Guard, doesn't have a life, and is just gonna get brought down. Their failure to kill Erica starting to bite them in the ass here. Shining, he's way too tanky. He's gonna drop the Ravage. Ooh. It does not stun Dong as he barely makes it into the base. But the fact that they could hold on to Ravage until this part of the fight and still win so decisively, this is a problem, Fluke. This is a big problem for Supernova.
That was so scrappy for both of these two teams. Like, it just felt like that nobody really had a good idea about how they wanted to go about that fight. Dong did a really good job of just forcing everything out of the Slark, but with no Han, like, anywhere near that fight, it was too hard for them to keep the disable that they needed to, right? And sometimes when your backs are against the wall, you have one player who is split pushing the map, and things kind of arise where you need to kind of instantly respond. And unfortunately, that time around, things happened a little bit too quick for Supernova, and they didn't have all of their puzzle pieces in the right order. And they just weren't able to get the kills. And when you're playing Shadow Demon as well as Dark Blue in a game like this, where you're like 90k behind, you're just going to be food to the Slark and the Broodmother, which is just kind of the natural way of things. So if these fights are not coordinated and straight up, then it is definitely going to be a fight that we're going to see the Broodmother and the Slark get themselves these 2 support kills, and most likely nothing else.
Erica, if Han was there, probably did. He's not. Han's still struggling in this game. Are going to see him smoke up with his crew, though. This time somebody in the team has sounded the alarm. We only play as 5, boys. Let's see what they can find here. They're actually going to drop a Fiend's Gate right next to where the Roshan pit is. So they're going to take an interesting path here. Shining and Erica, they're on the forward line here. Erica, he pounces forward. He doesn't have an Aegis right now. So he needs to be careful here. Does go into the Shadow Dance. Looking towards bringing down the Dark Willow. They're going on to Echo as well. Look at Dong focusing the Spider. And with the Dream Coil and right clicks, they do manage to kill her off. She does buy back, however. Why? Trying to help Normal End during the lasso, but there's too much damage coming from these heroes. Shining does drop a pretty good Ravage, but nobody's dead just yet. And look at Dong just going ham in this fight. Stolen charge going on to the Side Hunter. They can't finish him off just yet, though, because he does have the cheese. Erica also starting to run a little bit out of damage. Bit of Malice directly onto Echoes. The Blue doesn't have BKB. She's going to die back here, Fluke.
Oh.
She's gone. No buyback for the Broodmother. No Batrider being alive. And Roshan just respawned, baby. What's up, big man? What's happening? A cheese and an Aegis hang in the wings. Lost Dog have to stop this, Fluke. They can't let this go for free.
Yeah, they want to get in. They know that Roche is going to take a little while to lose his life.
They're Shining with the 3-hero Ravage. They set up the kill onto Shen. Immediately killed off. She follows him into the grave. Both of them buy back, however, as Han found a 3-hero Dream Coil, but they need more follow-up here. Shola finally back into the mix. Han is solo zoning back the Spirit Breaker and about to kill him off by himself. At the same time, Shining left behind inside the Pit of Malice to be killed off, and the Slark gets pounced on by Dong on the right-hand side of the Roshan pit. Erica dies. They don't bring down the Morphling, and the Roshan is still available.
Dong God. He played probably one of the most like picture perfect Morphling team fights I've ever seen. And now they're going to get another kill on a normal end.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this game has cracked wide open. This is crazy to watch. If anybody wants to know what kind of team fight prioritization looks like for a position 1 player, just watch Dong. Watch the way that he moves around these team fights and he positions himself in such a way that he's able to get the maximum amount of damage. He doesn't put all the emphasis on getting these kills. Like, he didn't spend too much of his time trying to get the kill on Erica because he knew that all he had to do was force Erica to reset once or twice. And that's what he did. And then he just took over this team fight. And this game, now that it's 2K going the way of Supernova, could potentially be theirs too.
Dong Morphling, baby. I mean, I know I've been talking this guy up every game we've done together, but we get to see an example of why he's so hyped and so renowned. Why? Well, we'll get killed off here. I'm not so sure if this was a great idea because that's a dieback, Fluke. So, yeah, that might lead to more than what you gain from just killing off a Dark Willow. She buys back instead, and this might just be the game here. Tidehunter jumps in, does have tendies of the deep, finds 2 heroes, but they can't finish them off just yet. Dong, having still access to the Spirit Breaker form, charge them onto the Tidehunter, killing off Shining. He does buy back, but we're still waiting 20 seconds for the lasso. Normal End, finding the lasso out onto this Morphling. Shining, no Ravage available. Normal End will die. Slog, at the very least, able to kill off this Puck, but she does have buyback. Dong, in the meantime, almost dead. Disruption saves him, and that's still his first life, Fluke. Finally takes a tumble. The Ancient has been exposed though, and they're doing as much damage as they can. Dong, he's back right now. Shining does find the 2-hero Ravage. BKB, popped now by Dong. He waveforms to the other side. He wants to end this game, and he's gonna do it. Dream Coil gave him the...